Welcome back, guys. So in this video, we're going to be talking about method parameters and arguments. So let's just get on this thing. Last time we discussed about methods. So let me just close this. Let me just create a new class. And I'll just say method parameters and arguments. Okay, I'll do the main finish. Let me just check this thing out. So in this, we'll just go outside of the main method, right? So we're going to create our method outside of the main method. If you guys remember from the last one, right? On my method, as you can see, we have the main method. We're just calling the specific method, but we're creating the method outside of this specific main method that we have over here. So let's just get on this. So if we keep things consistent as we have over here, right? So let's just go ahead and go over here. So a few things to just make a note of it. So in a method, right, we can pass various parameters. And these parameters act as like a variable, you could say, inside the method. And this method, so let me just start writing this. So let's say we say public static void method one, right? Just an example. It doesn't really matter. You can put it whatever you want. And then inside this, you have these brackets, and then you have these curly braces, right? So inside these brackets right here, you can put in whatever parameters that you want. Okay. One thing we should make a note of this is that whatever we are putting in here, that's called a parameter. Whatever, and then there's another one that's called argument, but we're going to get into that a little bit later in this lecture. And another thing to note is that whatever order that we pass on these parameters, the same number must also be in the arguments as well. So what I mean by that, so let's go on this. So let's say I say string name, right? So this is one of them that I'm putting over here. So string name. And then I can have print statement, and I can just have name, right? So this thing and this thing is the same. Now over here, if I just do method one, it gives me that, okay, I need a string name, right? So right now it's null because I don't have anything, but let's say I'm putting in John. Oops. I need that as well. So let's say I try to print this. It gives me that, right? It gives me that name, John. Now, because it's a string name, right, I cannot just put one over here. That'll not work because it is expecting, it says right there, you see that method right there, it's a string, right? And it says right there, change method one string to method int. If I wanted to do that, if I want to change the type, then obviously I have to do that. But in general, because that's the thing that I'm giving, because it's a string, I have to give that specific item over here. And I cannot just I cannot just say multiple things over here, you know, Jenny or something. I cannot just say that. That'll also give me error because if I hover over it, add parameter string. So method one string, and it says add parameter string. What that means, or over here, create method one string string. What that means is that because I'm only passing in one parameter, right? So this thing right here is called a parameter. This thing right here, that's the argument that I'm putting in, that I'm passing in to this parameter. Okay, so let me just delete this. I'll show you one more. So let's say I create another one. Public static void method 2, right? And in here, let's say I'm saying string name, right? And then I'm saying, by the way, this thing right here and this method right here, method 1 and method 2, even though they have the same variable, they are not the same. They are irrelevant. This method doesn't know anything about this specific method, right? So just wanted to make sure you guys understand that. So yeah, name, and then let's say I have int num or number, whatever you call it. So let's say I have that, right? Let's save this, and then let's do as out, right? We can just say we can say this. My name is, or your name is, right? Plus, we can say name, right? And then we can do plus, and we can say, and you are plus int, let's just do age over here, plus you are this age years old, right? So what I'm saying over here, on this first one, your name is, I'm saying, okay, your name is this, and you are, this age variable is going to go here, and you are whatever years old, right? So if I run this thing now, what do you think will happen? Nothing. It'll just give you this first one, right? Why? Because we didn't even call method 2 yet. You cannot run anything outside of the main method, so keep that in mind. So what you have to do over here is, if I go over here and I say method 2, and I can still use, instead of John, let's say I say Mike. Again, the reason it gives me that little red error over here is because, again, it's a string. I cannot put just like that. I cannot put that. I have to put a double quote. So let's say Mike, double quotes. And then in here, let's say I say 25. That's not my age, by the way. That is not my age. So run as Java application. Again, your name is Mike and you are 25 years old, right? So you can put in those multiple arguments in there, right? So what I was saying before, right? These things right here, these are called whatever parameters. So these things are called parameters. Right here, as you're putting in this information, this value in the main method, these things are called arguments. This is parameter. Okay, this is parameters you're putting in within the method, and these are arguments you're putting in for whenever you're calling the method. Okay, this is called calling the method. So so yeah, so hopefully that makes sense. So this Mike is an argument, and 25, that's also an argument within this method 2 parameters. Okay, and you can have as many as you want, right? It's just not, you're not restricted to this. I can call method 2 1,000 times, it doesn't matter, right? I can say method 2, and I can say, I don't know, Mo, right? I can say Mo, and I can say 20. It's whatever, it doesn't really matter, right? You can say it, you can call that method as many times as you would like. It does not matter at all. Okay, and another thing is, if I have 2 arguments over here, I cannot just put 1 argument. That will give me the error. It's saying, if I hover over this or hover over here, come on, let's see. Trying to hover over is not It is not giving me the, it is not giving me the, it is not giving me the view of this. But the reason is this is because it is expecting two values, right? One is an int string and other one is an integer, is an int value. So that's the reason why it's giving me these issues. So if I just put in something over here, right? If I just put in something over there, an integer number, then it is happy, right? It is not giving me that issue anymore. Again, spacing, it doesn't matter. I can put 1,000 space in here. It doesn't really matter. It'll not give me any issues. In Java, they don't really care. So yeah, the spacing or how it looks and whatnot, they don't really care about that. Okay, cool. And then you also have return value, right? Return value meaning you don't need this s out or anything like that. Okay. And usually, you know how we have public static void. So this void is basically saying it doesn't return anything. But instead of a void, I can actually have some sort of a return value in there. And what I mean by that is, let's say, let's say I call it, let's say static, oops, void, not void, sorry, static, let's say int method 4, right? I can have that. In here, it's already saying to change the type to because add a return statement. So it gives me all these issues right away, but I don't really have to do anything, right? It only gives you some sort of thing like, because right now I'm saying a static int, it is expecting that I have to put something in here, right? And then also add a return statement. So these are two fixes that we need to do. Either change this int to void, right? Or change it to or put in some sort of an return statement. So if I click on this return, right, it says return 0, right? So it automatically says, you know, what I just need this return statement, right? And now he's happy. It's not really doing anything here. I can also put public over here. It doesn't matter. It's you can put public or not put it in there. It doesn't make much of a difference in this case. So in here, let's say I have this return, right? And I can say return, let's say I can say to return to or here, let me put something in here since we're talking about this. Let's say int x or a or whatever, doesn't matter, right? And in here, let's say I put 10 plus x, right? This x is this thing right here. Now, if I run this thing, nothing will happen because, again, as you know, I did not call this thing here, right? This method 4, or let me change this to method 3. This method 3, I did not call that yet, right? So let me just close this thing really quick. So this method 3, I didn't call it yet, so it is not going to do anything. Because I have this return type int, right? It is I need to have a return statement. If I say public static string, then it'll still expect a return statement. So it doesn't matter what I put in there, it still expects that I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something over here, right? So in this case, let's say I have this. So it is basically doing this addition, right? And if I want to print that out or if I have to call that thing, what I have to do, let's say I do method 3, right? Again, it's expecting an integer over here, x, right? It is expecting that. So what I can do is I can put, let's say, I don't know, 5, and then close it. Now, keep in mind, I don't have a print line like this, right? I only have a return over here. If I run this thing, you're going to see that nothing is returned. Like, what happened, right? I'm calling it from my main method. So why isn't this giving me the result over here? So the thing is, it is returning. The thing is, because we don't have a print line. That's why it is not giving this. So what we can do, right? What we can do over here, let's say we do s out, right? And this method 3 and all this thing, we can just grab it, right? Or here, I'll just type it out so you guys can see it. What you're gonna do is, let's say, what is this? Method 3, right? And I can say 5, right? And that's it. I don't really have to do anything. I can just remove this line right now. So I'm basically saying is that print out this specific thing, right? Method 3, and then this 5, the 5 I put it in there is because I have this int x. So what it's going to do, return 10 plus this x. Now this, whatever the number is, right? This could be, for in certain cases, when we would use this. I mean, there's some cases we could have a specific number that we're starting off with, and then we just want to add to that specific number. So in this case, if I were to run this, it should give me 15. There you go. It gives me 15. Again, it doesn't have to be int. You can do it with a string. You can do it with whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. And you don't really just have to add. You can put it for anything that you want. It is irrelevant. You can also put it for if statement, right? We had if else statement before. You can also do it for that as well. If you want to check for a specific value or something, right? So yeah, so this is it for this specific lesson. For the next one, we will go ahead and we'll continue to talk about more Java methods. But yeah, if you do have any questions, comments, please put it in the comments below. Please like and share. Thank you so much, everyone.